maybe I'll let you introduce yourself, and then just tell us. So I really like the term diagnostic odyssey because I think even if it's very fast, patients go through an odyssey. And so if maybe you can introduce yourself and then just start off sort of how this whole journey started for you.
How much time do we have?
I think 15 minutes
Okay.
for the whole thing.
My name's David Salvesen. I've been in Carborough for like 30 years. It's interesting to call it an Odyssey. I've heard journey, Odyssey, quest, maybe not quest. Anyway, so the question is, how did this all start out? I was diagnosed with metastatic kidney cancer 5.5 years ago. And I have to say, I'm just absolutely delighted to be here because I didn't think I would be here 5.5 years on. When I first was diagnosed, I think the survival rates, the 5-year survival rates were pretty bleak, weren't they? Like 1 out of 5. I think it was like 17% or something. So I'm really happy to be here. But my diagnosis came about. Let me stop. So I'm here because of the wonderful care of my care team, Dr. Rose and her team. I call them the dream team. So I've been really lucky to have such good care and also the support I get from friends and family. And also, as we learned today, a bit of luck because a lot of the treatments that I'm receiving today weren't necessarily available 5.5 years ago. So I'm really lucky in that way that there were people before me who went through the trials to make sure that we have the drugs available to us that we have today. So I'd like to thank those who aren't here today. But anyway, so you asked me about how I was diagnosed. My wife and I are getting ready to go on a vacation to the St. John, the Caribbean. I'd never been there before. We bought all our snorkeling gear and we're ready to go. And I decided the day before we were to leave um, to go ride my bike. I was an avid mountain bike cyclist, and so I hopped on my bike to go for a ride in the woods near my home, and I fell. And I didn't really fall so much as I was getting ready to fall. And those of you who know anything about biking, you can clip in or basically lock your feet into the pedals, which gives you more control when you're riding. So I had my feet locked in, and I was anticipating I was going to fall. So the way you get your feet out is you do this kind of motion. And when I did that with my feet, I heard something pop. I thought it was quite painful. I thought I just tore a ligament or something. So I was laying in the dirt trying to get my foot out from my shoe so that I could call my wife. And I called and I said, told her where I was. And I said, could you please bring a pair of crutches out here? We'd happen to have a pair at home. And to make a long story short, I ended up going to the hospital a couple of days later where they did a biopsy and I got the news, which was uh, quite a shock for me, as it is for most of you, I suppose, when you first get the news, because I thought, I'm healthy, I'm physically active, I eat well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take drugs. I have been known to curse every now and then, but I was just I was in disbelief for a while. So that's how I was diagnosed, and then I found my way to Dr. Rose through a friend of mine who's a physician at UNC, and I said, "Who's the best oncologist there?" And so that's, I think, how we met. I'm not sure, and I've been under Dr. Rose's care ever since. Happily so.
And do you remember that time in your life? Because there are people here going through it. And, do you have any helpful advice for someone about sort of how to process this very life-changing diagnosis and which is overwhelming to anyone?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm in a position to give advice. And I'm even reluctant to share my story because everybody's journey is different. I have a friend who had the same kind of cancer that I have, and she died. So there's just so many variables. But I guess I would say um, one thing I've learned is don't try to go it alone. You have to lean on your friends and family and other people and associations like this one who are there to help provide support and help you through this whole process. Having said that, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I keep my wife she wanted to come to that. I said, no, you don't want to go to that. And she never comes to my appointments because I say, no, you don't need to go to that. I don't want my journey to become her journey, but it is. And I need to involve her more. But that's one thing I learned is you can't just like you're not going to get through this on your own. There are people and organizations who are out there who can help. And then the other is kind of a change in mindset, right? Your life is going to be different. Um, you're not going to be able to do everything you thought you were going to do. I thought I was going to grow old and live to my 90s with my wife, but that's probably not going to happen. But so then you just set new goalposts, if you will. And that's what I've done. I try to live every day. I started reading philosophy, like live for the moment kind of stuff. And I really believe that every day is a gift and I want to live every day like it's my last. But then I'm like, well, but I still have to take the garbage out and empty the dishwasher, and that's not what I want to do on my last day. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But those are the kind of things I struggle with. How do I try to live every day as if it's my last, but still be present?
And
Did I answer your question?
that
I
was
even
a
forget your question
perfect,
now.
no, that was a perfect answer. I think I almost don't need to ask you questions. I could just let you talk. But if you don't mind sharing, how your cancer was treated.
Okay. So I had to wait 3 weeks for my knee surgery. I'm sorry. I have kidney cancer. It spread to my knee and my femur. And that's how my leg broke so easily. I had a crack in my femur where it meets the knee. Um, so it didn't really break. I cracked it, I guess. I don't know what the medical term is. Um, and so I had to have my knee replaced and part of my femur removed. But I had to wait 3 weeks for that because this was right during COVID. And the hospital had to keep beds and doctors free in case there was a huge influx of patients. So I kind of limped around for 3 weeks till I finally got my knee replaced. And then I guess we waited like a month for it to heal enough where I could start pembrolizumab, the Keytruda, and axitinib. And I was on that for about a year and a half. And I went for every 3 weeks. I had an infusion. The axitinib I took as a pill. Then the side effects got to be kind of worrisome, I guess. I had really bad arthritis in my hands. I lost my thyroid. Oddly, my salivary gland stopped working. So Dr. Rose suggested at some point, I guess about 2 years ago, that I stopped taking the Keytruda, the pembrolizumab, and I was just on axitinib. And then in the midst of all that, I had my right kidney removed, totally removed. So I'm off drugs a little bit during that, and that went really well. I mean, it was really like in and out in a day kind of thing. And then I switched about last August, I think, from axitinib to cabozantinib. That's just a pill I take every day, 40 milligrams. And I've been on that plus levothyroxine for my thyroid. And those are the only two drugs I take. I will say that after I got off the Pembro, my arthritis healed, my hands stopped swelling. I couldn't wear a wedding ring for a long time. And somehow my salivary glands started working again. So some things do come back, but I think I still don't have a functioning thyroid.
And, so please be honest in your answer, right? Knowing that I've been with
Boy,
you
I've
on
been
this journey,
dishonest up
but
till now. I don't.
I just was going to ask, we've heard about so many different treatments today, even some of the uncertainty in knowing what to pick and what to treat with. How much do you remember sort of why you were treated with the things you were and
I do whatever you tell me. I mean, I'm not an expert in this, right? I read as much as I can. I learn as much as I can. We've talked about different options. Sound like, although I want to talk to you about this next time we meet, sounds like maybe radiation or ablation might be an option, but I'm not sure if my tumors are located in the place that they're going to be accessible. You don't have to answer that now. So, it was encouraging to see that there are other options available. It's also at the same time kind of depressing because I try to live my life not thinking every day and all the time about cancer. And this is just a reminder. It's like, yes, you have it. It's not great. It could get worse. It's not going to get better. But for now, I feel really fortunate that the drugs have worked quite well. Kind of kept my cancer in check, and it's almost been, dare I say, routine for my treatments. Right, I go in every 6 weeks for blood work to check on my kidney functions, and every 12 weeks for scans. And so far, everything's going pretty well. So I don't feel like I need to change to something else, but we have talked about options like switching from cabozanthine to some other drug if things start going south. So I'm sure a lot of the patients in the room can understand what it's like, and you kind of live from scan to scan. You know, there's that grace period between the scans, and then you get a little. I heard the term scanxiety as you get close to the scan because, you know, for me at least, my whole life could change with one bad scan. So it's easier for me to talk about them now and be optimistic because my scans have been good, but that could change, and we all know that. That's the uncertainty we live with.
And what has surprised you about this journey on these different, I'll use the word chemo medications, if you will?
Um, Probably the odd side effects. Like I lose my voice really easily. Where'd that come from? I don't know why I lose my voice. And I teach at that other university. Um, I spent 20 years at UNC and I teach a course at Duke. And so about halfway through teaching, I have to slow way down because my voice disappears. So that's been a surprise. But I was talking to, we were talking before, right? Um, I wasn't sure if I should share that, but there's this weird awkwardness, and I'd like to hear from others. Like when you first tell somebody you have cancer, I never tell anybody because I know it's going to be an awkward moment. People never know what to say, and even my family will send me the weirdest therapies. You know, like, oh, I saw something on TikTok and this guy had like, I don't know, beet juice and applesauce or something every morning. And my friends will send me the, recipes to cure my cancer. And people always will say to you, oh, my uncle's best friend's sister's husband had leukemia and he's still alive after 10 years. And, I thank them. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. But please, I want to say, please stop. And so that's been one surprise to me, how there's been an outpouring of support, but sometimes it almost goes too far. And people mean well, right? So I don't want to be mean to them. They mean well, but I just wish they'd stop. I tell them I have got excellent care, one of the best hospitals in the country, and I'm not going to change to something because it was on YouTube. So when I was first diagnosed, anybody hear of Swedish death cleaning?
Yeah.
So I went through my closets. I got rid of most of my books, a lot of my biking gear. I threw out all my work clothes, all my suits. And 2 years later, I regretted that because my daughter was getting married and I had to walk her down there. I was like, I got to buy a suit. So I think my initial reaction was, okay, it's over. I'm just getting rid of all this stuff. So my wife doesn't have to do that later. And then I kind of settled into where I am now. So no more Swedish death cleaning. I'm gonna do maybe, I don't know, Swedish life cleaning or something. Maybe.
Thank you. I guess I'll end with one more question that actually Catherine came up with that I love. Like, what are you looking forward to?
Uh, you mean like today?
However you want to answer.
I look for, well, if I can be philosophical, I look forward to finding meaning and joy in my life, right? That's what we all want. And how we do that is, everybody has a different journey that they're going to take. And mine is going to be different from yours. But if my time is limited, I want to, I want to, I want to find meaning, and I want to find joy, and I want to spend time with my family and my friends. So I also look forward to dinner. My wife's cooking tonight. So thank you so much for being here. I'm curious to hear your stories as well. I don't know if we have time, but as we mingle afterwards. So I appreciate having the time to share mine. And thanks, Dr. Ross, for everything.
Thank you.